Hi there, welcome to some of the latest news on the Jay Slater case. The mother, Debbie Duncan, has spoken out denying the claims of Jay Slater stealing that £12,000 Rolex watch when he was out in Tenerife. How true is that? We're going to be taking a look at a new article today to look for any further details given, any additional information which may or may not have been heard before, and I'll give my analysis and thoughts on the matter, considering of what we know about Jay Slater's past and how at times things can repeat themselves. Did that occur with Jay exactly? Well, we'll see. It's interesting how this case continues on, despite Jay's body being found eventually, being brought back eventually, the funeral too, the GoFundMe is still up and running. And supposedly there was a second GoFundMe set up, but I couldn't quite find that. But nevertheless, if that's what truly happened, although I've been a bit out of the loop, I guess I was ahead of my time, because way back then I made that prediction that if the money runs out or there's a need to, then a second GoFundMe could be set up. And that's what supposedly happened at some point. So that's kind of interesting. If that really was the case, you could understand how there'd be a new wave and spark of resistance. There's another article as well just recently to do with resistance and I suppose trolls and the terrorising of Debbie Duncan. Maybe we can get into that a later time, but right now we need to focus in on the watch situation and see, has anything else been added? Here we are. So the title of the article reads, Jay Slater's mum breaks silence over £12,000 stolen watch and Tenerife drug gang. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was already talked about earlier on in the case, unless that was from friends of friends or people in the community. It says apprentice bricklayer Jay vanished mid-June after, Canary Islands. Is that of the funeral, I believe. So, you all gathered. Jay Slater's devastated mum, Debbie, has denied rumours Jay stole a £12,000 watch and fell foul of a Tenerife drug cartel. Okay, Jay vanished, I've seen all that. He was tragically found a month later after 4 weeks of frantic searches, in that ravine. Debbie has now addressed accusations where Jay had stolen a £12,000 watch from a gangster during his fateful night out. Debbie, in quotes, he would never have been involved in anything like that. He had only been in Tenerife for 3 days. He was at a festival with friends, which had wristbands, security, and an Ursuri. I've no idea where these drug stories have come from, and the stuff about him stealing a watch is nonsense. But how would Debbie know when Debbie wasn't there herself at the time? Okay? So if you're just basing it off how you know your son, do you really know your son that well? And that's not as an insult, just as a simple question, because let's not forget Jay Slater was involved with gang activity in the past with machetes, an axe, some kind of blunt instrument, which was used on an individual back in 2020 or 2021, roughly around that. Yeah, and the person got attacked, and even though Jay may have not delivered the blow or the attack of the individual, he was there to witness and allow it to happen, a part of that gang that did the attack. And in court, Jay was laughing from what the judge has said. So yes, time has moved on since and Jay's grown up, but nevertheless, sometimes you do bad things, can re-offend in the future, or do other varying forms of doing illegal stuff, stealing. So it's just worth taking into consideration, right? And as well, even if it's not based off how well or how little you know your son, if Debbie is basing it from what other people have told her, that will be second-hand, third-party information, and I wouldn't say that's strong enough. It's best to hear it from the horse's mouth, and if that's not available, then that's most unfortunate. Anyway, Debbie says, I don't even have the words to describe how sick these individuals are, she told the Sun. I did not know anything about the GoFundMe and did not know why it was. You don't know what GoFundMe is? Your whole time on this planet and Earth, you never knew what GoFundMe was. I kind of find that hard to believe, but you never know. There's always exceptions. If you've just not been exposed to it, or there's not been a reason to go on the site. But surely you would have heard stories in the news, newspapers, maybe talked about in real life about charities and raising money for someone to get care, access to medical stuff. Surely, right? And Debbie's saying we were only told about it by Lucy when we were at the police station. So it was Lucy's idea and Debbie's classified as the beneficiary, I think, if I can remember when it comes to that GoFundMe scenario. So if it wasn't for Lucy, this GoFundMe never would have existed. Is that really the case? So, whilst, yes, you could argue and pin the blame or have a bit of distaste towards Debbie, what about Lucy? Opportunistic behaviour? Oh, let's do a GoFundMe. Is that the mentality of people nowadays? I mean, Lucy is a younger individual, Debbie the older individual. Different generations of people react differently to different situations and problems in this world, in this life. Some will seek for free handouts and others will try and work hard to resolve things by themselves with limited resources. Everybody reacts differently, but sometimes it could be based off different types of generations, thoughts, ideas, procedures moving forwards. But, you know, these are just observations, don't need to get that deep. In quotes, Debbie, we have had all these people slagging me off about the GoFundMe that I didn't ask for. About the GoFundMe that I didn't ask for. Oh, so you don't want that £72,000 money raise? Or you mean I didn't ask for to be slagged off? I wonder. Interesting. I said so. I don't want to use it. I didn't want to touch it. The only things that it's been used for are some accommodation cost, the dog team that came over, the Dutch team from Netherlands, even though they didn't really do anything because by the time they got there, Joe was already found, and some, I can't even get that word out, cost. So, still ongoing. How can it still be ongoing when Jay's already been brought back? And there's some talks about that, repatriation. The cost of it is really expensive, and then others in recent time were saying it's not actually as expensive as you think. But I don't know, could you say Debbie's like backtracking here? You know, I didn't ask for the GoFundMe. I didn't ask for £72,000, you know, and I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to use it. I wanted nothing to do with it. Oh, but by the way, I invited friends and family members to come on down and pay for their accommodation. And we were there for quite some time. And even a week afterwards, after the post news of Jay being found for at least a week, the Dutch team coming on down, even though they were late to the party, but they were still getting paid just to give them, support counselling or something, even though their speciality is searching for missing people. Interesting. You know, didn't want the GoFundMe, didn't ask for it, but still happy enough to use that money and want more and more and more after. It's interesting, this, very. In quotes, I've been speaking to GoFundMe virtually every day and they've been amazing and supportive. They know the money has not been misused and they've been telling me I don't have to explain what every last penny has been used for. Brother Zach said, Joe was the last little, okay. Is that about it? Interesting. So only a brief bit about the watch situation, but very interesting to do with the GoFundMe. At the end of the day, if the GoFundMe situation was such a big issue to begin with at the start, then maybe it should have just been closed down to begin with. But, oh no, complain, but still make use of what's been raised and what's been given and then want more after. Just an interesting mindset that's coming out now and what the mother is saying. And it mainly seems to be what the mother has to say about this and that, quite vocal compared to maybe some of the other people, in the case family or friends of friends. That's one thing I noticed. And as for the watch situation, I think it came from, Mark William Thomas, if that's his full name, an individual that has worked on many high-profile cases, but may not have been that successful on different ones, like the Madeleine McCann one, because it's still ongoing. The Jay Slater one, whilst there's been a bit of a resolve with what Mark William Thomas was getting at about this and that, and Jay getting in trouble, criminal networks, watch being stolen. Quite a lot of that came from him, and how much of it turned out to be truly true. Not much from the looks of it, right? Is there any small chance that Jay could have stolen a watch or something else and lost it in the process of when getting away, when going off trail? Is there a small possibility there? But arguably, if he did have anything on him, surely it would have been on or near to his body where he was found, like with some of his other items. But you can let me know what you think down below in the comments section. Do you agree with Debbie in the claims of the stolen watch being denied, that it never did happen? Do you believe that's the truth? Or do you think there could be a darker story behind it? And what's your overall opinion about the mother's attitude with that GoFundMe after what people have given and done, right? So appreciate your patience for watching this video. We'll see what happens next, if anything does need to be covered. But yeah, goodbye for now.